From the Vault is sponsored by Vita Coffee and Wine Bar in downtown Sandusky, where the elite meet to eat. Visit us in person or on the web at vitasandusky.com.
From the Vault is supported by Lucky Stone Uniforms. Go to luckystoneuniforms.com to supply uniforms for local law enforcement, fire service, EMS service, and medical agencies and organizations in North Central Ohio.
Welcome to another edition of From the Vault, Leadership Lessons You Can Bank On. I'm Paul Ward. I'm with Coach Tony Legando, lifelong educator, author, speaker, Hall of Fame head football coach. We're here at Vita in downtown Sandusky on Columbus Avenue. And if you're in the Sandusky, Ohio area, you got to come down and check my friend Tom Siegel's new menu. The place is great. Get yourself a coffee or perhaps something bolder. From the Vault, Leadership Lessons You Can Bank On is sponsored by not only Vita, but LuckyStonePromotions.com. Lucky Stone Promotions, or is it Lucky Stone Gifts and Promotions? Suddenly, I'm afflicted with something. Look up Lucky Stone. Google search them, find them, buy some things. Produced by Lake Erie TV. Coach, isn't this a beautiful spot?
It's great. It's great. Tommy Siegel does a good job. It's all decked out. Why wouldn't you want to come here?
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you, we had a couple of guests. Colonel Joel Hagy, Coach Travis Crabtree, gave us wonderful gold nuggets about leadership. What do you think?
Well, what comes to my mind right away is that you can learn leadership from a lot of different people. It isn't that you learn it from a book you pick up, or you can learn it, for instance, I learned a lot from students who I taught. You watch the good ones, you watch the leaders, you learn something from ball players who I coached. But sit and listen to them, like it take you from West Point to a wrestling mat in Perkins. And it's amazing to me how much of it crossed, that they both, in those completely different venues, different arenas, still stress the same things about character and honesty and being open and honest. And it's just incredible to me that it's not really a secret. Pulling it off is. You know, I've often said that putting a team together isn't rocket science. Okay? Holding them together is. Figuring out how to keep everybody headed in the right direction, the same direction. That's tough. And listening to those guys, it amazed me how much of it crossed paths. It's the same thing wherever you're at.
I chose them because I identify where they learned leadership as two of the finest institutions on leadership in the Western Hemisphere, and that's West Point and Heidelberg.
There you go.
That's what I think.
Very close. I was thinking that while I was listening.
Yeah, indeed. With Joel Hagy, talking about community service, with Travis Crabtree talking about creating a travel league baseball for young people in the summer. I really like that in their retirement or approaching retirement, they're creating, they're serving, they're finding maybe formal or informal ways to create environments for leadership, to impact their community in ways that are really community service oriented. That impressed me.
Well, I think if it's in you, if you have that desire to lead, if you have a passion for it, I don't think it leaves because you walk out of West Point, or it leaves because you get off a wrestling mat. It's just something, I think, both of them, it was instilled within them at a young age, and they have felt the beauty of leadership, the beauty of making a difference in people's lives. So it's going to continue regardless of what they're doing. I really believe that somewhere in the community or in their own home or wherever, it's who they are. And, and I think one thing that stuck with me is listening to both of them. In different ways, they said that you have to be yourself because people you're leading can see through if you're trying to be someone else. And I think Crabtree's approach is just to be open and honest and kind of, doesn't hold anything back, to where Joel talked about the things that he's learned, and he's not going to back down from anything because he's confident with what he learned. And I think there's anything we can take away from both of their talks, it's that they have been so good at what they do, they've developed a confidence that you have to have as a leader, or you're not going to last long. So it was I love listening to them.
Right, and I think that desire to lead, desire to elevate those around you because you're there, even in an informal way perhaps, can't be suppressed among leaders. I mean, people who have that desire. You fit right in with being an author, writing books on the subject to inspire young people, being a speaker. You know, you just don't retire and sit back if you have that in you, I believe. And so how are things going with you on that subject?
It's going good, but I think the important thing is you have felt that you have made a difference in someone's lives or in some team's life. And once you experience that, it gets a hold of you, and you just want to continue that. So, you know, in it as long as I was, learning from so many different people and still learning, you want to share what you learned from others. And you know, I was thinking about this, Paul. Go by the stadium, and you walk in, you tell me, what do you see right on the left side of the gate as soon as you come in? What do you see?
A memorial to those killed in action from our town.
Okay, and you brought that concept in. I listened to you talk one time, and I thought, I want a piece of that. You know, I want to be a little part of that. More importantly, I want my team to be a part of that. So you did it at Vermilion, I believe.
That's right.
And you got a good feeling from it. And you discussed it with me. And I would imagine, I don't remember exactly, I asked for a little support, and absolutely. So tell me that doesn't feel good. I'll give you $1 million if it doesn't make you proud every time you walk in there.
Certainly does.
Because I had about this much to do with it, but I feel real good about that. So once you feel something that's that deep, for instance, Joel Hagy at West Point, that feeling's got to be great, that you can go places that he's gone, make a difference in all those places. What do you mean, like because you get home, all of a sudden you don't have that same desire? No, I think that, he's doing it, you know, in Huron City Council, just to still be a leader, still make a difference. It's powerful. You know that from where you've been. You've coached some wrestling. It's like people think that what motivates you as a coach is beating someone on a Friday night. That does not compare to the feeling of getting all those guys together, all believing in your little culture, heading out the door to just represent. It's, you know, when I was in it at 60 years old, do you think it's that much fun to get on a bus with a bunch of kids and go to Oak Harbor to whoop them? You think I'd stay in it that long just because we can beat somebody? No, that's the little caveat. That's the little thing that draws them in. But, you know, anyone that's had any success at all with leading people, that feeling, tell me, that feeling doesn't go away overnight, does it?
It certainly doesn't, and I'm glad you brought up the Huron Fallen Heroes Memorial for this reason, and on the subject of leadership. It's a theme I've brought up before. During that season, and it was mid-season, I'm your assistant football coach. And that could have been seen as a big distraction. But that is living out this philosophy. I mean, it's one thing to give anything lip service, any component of good leadership, you ought to have these attributes to be a good leader. But when the pressure's on, when you're mid-season, we don't have time for that. That's exactly what you didn't do. We choreographed along with the band, along with the choir. I mean, we had a lot of students, the entire football program, coaches, as I said, the band and the choir choreographed to dedicate this memorial on a Thursday night during football season. The fact that you, allowed for that to happen with emphasis is the personification of what you're talking about. There are more important things than winning Friday night. I happen to know we did win that Friday night. I remember the game and all that. But aside from that, what you did was create a piece of the pie. And it's always one of the things you did very well. I'm assistant football coach, you're head football coach. In effect, I work for you. You are the boss. But the one thing you did very well is allow people to have their piece of the pie and express themselves in their personal style. With one asterisk, it's got to fit. It's got to fit. It can't contradict. So there's a program, and many people had pieces of the pie. The Huron Fallen Heroes Memorial was a wonderful opportunity for me to lead something, and it was very elevating within the spirit of what you were trying to accomplish, what we all really believed in, creating an environment for young people to learn life lessons. And so I'll always be grateful to you for that.
If you think about it, Paul, if you're trying to develop a culture where you're trying to do more than just win football games, and I've said this before, but you get 70 guys together and all you can do is win a few football games, that's so weak. So to develop a culture that goes beyond the sidelines, that has real meaning to it, oh, that was welcome. That fits into what we're trying to create. Mm-hmm. Where when you're part of that culture, part of something like that memorial, it's, I don't know if leverage is the right thing, but when you sit kids down and say, wait a minute, we've done this, and then you're going to get in trouble that way and bring us all down. Mm-hmm. That's a little bit of leverage that you can use also. But why wouldn't you want to, as an educator, as a coach, first of all, let you do what you do best. You don't think the kids learn from the way you went at that and the way you prepared and the way you presented it? You know, for me to say, hey guys, did you watch Coach Ward? I mean, do you see how important it was to him? And he's asking us to be a part of it. Guess what? We're going to do this the right way and you'll feel good about it. Who wouldn't want that? Okay, so, you know, use the talents that you have. That can be considered selfish by me. I scratch my head. I don't got to do this alone. Paul Ward's got a little something going on. Let's use it. Let's watch him do his thing. And that's got to help us develop a culture of doing things the right way.
And we made impact across the ocean, didn't we?
Oh, yes, we did.
Yeah,
yes, we did.
Yeah. And I'll always remember getting that email from Ed and Anita in the Netherlands who saw what we did because they adopted the grave of Lieutenant Ernest Temper, who is from Huron, Ohio, was killed in action in the Battle of the Hurtgen Forest and is buried in Belgium. And they place wreaths at his grave to honor their word to me was the liberator. And it was a very patriotic feeling, and it all came from our project, the Huron Fallen Heroes Memorial.
Yeah. It's well, teachable moment. We've heard that before in these podcasts, right? Mm-hmm. Teachable moment. Crabtree talking about that. What a wonderful teachable moment where there's substance to it. And then to hear from someone overseas makes you feel like, hey, what we're doing makes a difference beyond the Sandusky Bay Conference. Mm-hmm. And to have a little piece of that history. And don't think for a minute that those kids aren't talking about that a little bit as they get older and bragging about, say, yeah, we were part of that deal. Mm-hmm. It was pretty cool. So again, if is all you're going to do is win a few games, I don't know. That seems pretty weak to me. You got all that talent, all those kids sitting there. You got the coaches that have all kinds of talent that can bring to the table. And that's, I think, the way that you develop a good program is use the talents of the people. You know, not just surround yourself with good people, use their talents. And then all of a sudden it becomes, you know, larger than life, so to speak. It's like, wow, we really are doing a lot here. And kids take pride in that. Mm-hmm. I think we did a good job. I know we did.
There's got to be balance, though, okay? It's, you know, I believe you. You convinced me. It's not all about winning a football game on a Friday night. What if you win none of them? Then what?
Well, I think that's the big deal, right?
Yeah.
Is you have to balance it. But I think you can do those things and win too. Mm-hmm. I think those things that you do that have a little bit of honor to them certainly help you bring everybody together. Isn't that what a leader does? Mm-hmm. Whether you're West Point, Perkins, Huron, I don't care where you're at. Mm-hmm. The whole deal is to bring people together, common cause, and use everything that you can, any talent of anyone around you, to bring it all together. And, you know, the feeling that you get from it, you can't find it. You better hold on to it. And as you get older, keep finding things to do. I love to share what I learned from other people. If you read any of the articles or any of the books that I've written, it's not about me. It's about people who have, you know, that have either read about, listened to, watch them grow up. You know, it's like watching these podcasts. I sat here and listened to those two. I learned a lot. One thing is it just strengthens, it supports what you thought you knew about leadership. I got a guy from West Point sees things the way I do, or he has a different approach. You got to learn from that. I used to love to read Nick Saban talk. This is just one example. Or read something. And he had the same, you know, it's crazy. I used to worry about what I thought at the time was some dumb stuff. Okay? You read anything about him, he worried about the same dumb stuff. You know, that's what leaders do, is you sit and you constantly evaluate what you're doing. Whether you call in somebody on your staff, there were times, Paul, when I'd call you in and say, I don't know how I'm going to approach this. You know, and you learn from so many people. And I learned early on to listen. And, you know, one of the things that we don't talk about enough, I think, in leadership is to observe. You know, you had to come to the weight room 20 minutes early. I'd stand at one end, all the kids would be down the other. There's a reason I did that, is to watch how they interact. Watch how they interact. And you can find the leaders, you can find the guys who are slipping through the cracks. You can call up Paul Ward and say, Paul, watch that kid down. Nobody knows he's here. He's like a shadow. You know, and I think observation is vital. I think I've always told our seniors who, okay, now you're a senior, you're supposed to know what you're doing. The only thing you have to do different is be aware of what's around you. Don't change your personality. It's not going to work. It's fake. Be who you are. You know, Coach Manafo was as colorful as they come. Okay, so I follow him. I'm sorry, that ain't going to work for me. I don't have that same shtick that he's got.
You didn't wear a jacket that looked like a tiger?
No, and I wouldn't wear one of those cowboy hats back in the day either when we started to run and shoot. But it's important because young kids don't know that. They come in, all right, like I'm a senior, I'm supposed to be a leader. Well, you're supposed to be a leader when you're a sophomore, junior, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing. And it just be yourself, just be aware of what's going on around you so you can address issues that might be this big. Don't let them get this big. And I don't know why you wouldn't use the talents of everyone around you, why you wouldn't learn from the good people that have had that you've watched become leaders, and the people that aren't very good. You can learn a lot from those guys.
One of the things in my own career, I have had occasion to interview people from time to time, both in the world of education and in the world of business. And my favorite question to ask in an interview, so I'm going to pass this on to the young people listening to us. There are folks like me poised with certain questions and are going to listen carefully to the answer. But one of the questions I like to ask young coaches is, why does winning matter? And what's immediately revealed is that they sometimes haven't thought of that. You know, that you just try to win. Or in business, why does success matter? Why does it matter? What's the difference? You know, most people in the world could care less about our team's success on a field or a court or a mat, or our business's success with revenue. And their answers fascinate me, but I will reveal what I'm looking for is simply something around evidence of a job well done. Winning or increased revenue is evidence of a job well done. What's a job well done? The combination of smart work and hard work. And it's that simple. So back to, you know, it can't be all about winning, but if you don't win any of them, that's not evidence of a job well done.
You lose your voice. All of a sudden, they're not really believing in everything that you're sending their way. But it makes me think of, we were in a ball game. It was against a Port Clinton team. We beat them. We had more talent. We should have beat them. And my wife was telling me that a lot of the moms, because of where the locker room is right by the bleachers, so they're kind of gathering. So when the kids come out, hey, nice job and everything, they hear me in there chewing the kids out.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute, they won by 30 points. He's in there, and she says, we can't figure that out. Well, I'll tell you what it is. We were ahead by enough where we put in our second team, our third team, and I turn and look, and the guys who start, the guys who play all the time, they're on the bench kind of talking. And I called them up. I said, these guys, you've been kicking their ass for, a whole week to play the game. All right. They never get a chance to play under the lights. You guys can't walk 5 feet and come and cheer those guys on. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, we won. When does it matter? It matters when you do things the right way. That's when it matters. It matters when they have treated everybody on the team with respect. And that's not respect to sit there and forget. Fine, bring your water that you need up here. Take your shoulder pads off and get up here right away. So what matters to me is if you've won the right way. And it's not a perfect world. It's not always going to happen that way. But you've been a part of it. You've watched us. Tell me, when the guys who you've coached, Paul, we beat that team because we should have. We have more talent. But you see them kind of slacking off because we're ahead. How's that make you feel? As the coach of those people, you don't feel good about it.
Oh, not at all.
So to me, I guess it matters when you've done things the right way, and if you get beat because you should have, boy, there's a lesson. Jump on that one.
One of the things that concerns me, I'm going to use college football as an example, but it's in the National Football League, all variety of professional sports. It seems to me, and don't ask me to back this up, that we're firing good coaches left and right. We're just, the teams that did not win the national championship this year are Ohio State Buckeyes, Southern Cal, Texas. So we fire all those, right? I mean, we didn't, but when I look at social media, there's an outcry for, the death penalty for not winning a championship. I fear that attitude could trickle down to all of the high school coaches, and
already doing that,
and they're fine coaches, but maybe they didn't win enough. How would you address that?
Well, that's a good question. I think I'd probably take the Nick Saban route. If I was a college coach, I couldn't deal with all that. It's so far from what it all started to be. It's kind of sad. And I think we might have talked about this before, but it's all about money. All it's about is money. Coaches making $8-9 million a year. You don't think they're going to go so aggressive that it's got to hurt someone? Giving money or opportunities to make money to high school kids, they can't handle that. They're not equipped for that. They're not mentally prepared for that. And sometimes what's around them isn't good, and people are going to take advantage of them. To me, that's not what we did at the high school level. The high school level is football is a tool. Wrestling is a tool. Teach kids how to stand on their own 2 feet. That's all it is. And they've taken that away where now it's all about winning. And it should be about winning as far as we're coming together for a common cause. We want to win. But at what expense? I mean, it's just craziness. It's like all these, and we talked about this, all these teams in the playoffs. It's because of money. Hey, if we made all this money when we let 4 teams in, hey, if we let 8 teams in, we'll make twice as much.
Right.
Hey, how about 16 teams? Yeah, go ahead. But it's just craziness.
Yeah, and it's I confess to being conflicted about it because, especially at the college level, it has become such a business, and there's so much money there. Shouldn't the players have access to some of that, given that they're not all going to get rich in the National Football League? I mean, instead of the president of the Rose Bowl gets rich and everybody else just gets a scholarship. They get free chemistry class. There's a little imbalance there. But where the business has expanded, the role of education has been diminished. And that's too bad.
Well, it's real bad news for the young kids that are coming out. It seems to me, you're right, it would be nice if those kids would get a piece of the pie. But they're not ready to get it, so why not, it's set aside for them in some trust or something that down the road you do the job, this money's there for you, you've earned it. But when they're mature enough to handle it, I don't have any answers. I know I listened to a game on Saturday, and Nick Saban again was talking about. He said, "I would like to be a part of what we can do about this." So you let the powers that be, the guys that really know it, the guys who have the right interest of the athletes in mind, let them get their heads together, because it's the Wild West, Paul. I mean, don't give me that much money when I'm that age, because it's going to be bad for a lot of people.
I saw a podcast with Urban Meyer, and he said something pretty profound. He said, "I'll tell you what I'd like to do is call the president of the NCAA, and I would just say, 'What are you doing?'" And that made me laugh, and it made me respect Coach Meyer a little bit insofar as he sees what I think, what you're expressing, a deep concern about college football. My concern is a little bit larger. It's how these things trickle down to even younger people who may not be involved in sports. There's a word that's being thrown around, and it makes my skin crawl. Decommit. The word should not exist. Then if you can decommit, you never were committed. Let's stop using that word. Let's stop sending the message freely that you can change your mind and decommit to all aspects of life.
That's a good point. I got a question for you.
All right.
You're in business. Okay. You were an athlete, 2 or 3 sport athlete. You go to college and play ball. This is a little bit different than what we were talking about. What you learned from those sports, did it help you in business at all? And how?
Oh, absolutely.
What do you take away from your experience as an athlete, being involved in teams? Okay, so you go off in the business world. What's that got to do with anything?
Well, a lot. For me, actually, I probably learned as much from my coaching life and watching other head coaches. I worked for maybe 8 other head coaches between different sports at different times. So I learned a lot as a coach. As an athlete, I think I learned, the first thing I learned was that you don't need a leadership position to be a leader. And that I watched certain athletes, football players, wrestlers, who elevated the room because of their behavior. Now, sometimes it was something they said. Sometimes they said something softly. Sometimes they shouted something. But they were being themselves, and the spirit of the team, esprit de corps, was elevated. But they weren't a captain. They didn't have to be a senior. I saw that over and over again. So don't think, okay, I'm not team captain. I'm not a coach. I can't have impact that will elevate us all. That's the essence of leadership. And I saw that over and over again. And I think that's the number one lesson that I learned as an athlete. In business, that absolutely translates. The salesperson that works late, that gets in early, that makes one more phone call. Other sales reps see that. Who wants to be last? Who wants to, and that contrast reveals that character in a person. So outwork everybody, even if you're not sales manager, right? Be that person that's elevating the team, not just because you made one more sale, but because other sales reps around you saw your hard work and were inspired by it. That's leadership, just like it is on a football team.
Love it. That makes a difference.
From the Vault, leadership lessons you can bank on. I'm with Hall of Fame football coach Tony Legando, and we are sponsored by Lucky Stone in Huron, Ohio, and Vita, where the elite meet to eat in beautiful downtown Sandusky, Ohio, the roller coaster capital of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, from the Vault, we'll be back after this.
From the Vault is sponsored by Vita Coffee and Wine Bar in downtown Sandusky, where the elite meet to eat. Visit us in person or on the web at vitasandusky.com.
From the Vault is supported by Lucky Stone Uniforms. Go to luckystoneuniforms.com to supply uniforms for local law enforcement, fire service, EMS service, and medical agencies and organizations in North Central Ohio.
From the Vault is produced by Lake Erie TV. Watch us, like us, and follow us at lakeerie.tv.